What do you want to give me here?
I'll give you Packers against famous Jameis and the New Orleans Saints.
Wow, Packers Saints. Okay, so again, I think I know the reason why you skipped over one game. I think there might be a plan here with the lock of the week. Um, Packers Saints is interesting. I had the Packers. I think the Packers are. This was actually considered a lock of the week candidate for me, but I just 4.5 points was a bit much for me. I like the Green Bay Packers. I think that they're a good team. I think that people were getting on me because I had them seventh in my overall power rankings, but that's a good team. I think that there's a lot to like here. And while I do like the Saints defense as well, I think they could limit Rodgers. At the same time, they didn't last year. Rodgers, the Packers offense went all over them. The difference now is, do I trust Jameis Winston to put up 30 plus points? I don't know. I think there could be some issues, and especially, you could totally see Winston. I'll say I think Jair Alexander has an interception in this game.
You think Jameis Winston's going to throw an interception?
I know. Bold take.
Yeah,
Should have saved that for my hot takes segment last week.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do think this will be an interesting game. The one thing is, I know last season kind of sticks in my head, but I just got this thing in my head that they struggle with Kamara.
Yeah,
and
it was the one play where literally everyone missed a tackle on him.
Yeah, and is Kamara, like, if Kamara goes nuts in this next game, because everyone's going on about, Jameis Winston, now they're going to throw the ball downfield. Marquez Callaway is like the second coming of Marquez Colston or something like that. Everyone's all excited about this vertical passing game. No, Alvin Kamara is going to get the ball 35 times a game in this for this team. He's going to get the ball in the passing game, and he's going to get the ball in the running game, and that's what they're going to do. And I think Kamara is one of the, we did our, top 20 players in the NFL last week. I think he's one of probably the 4 or 5 offensive players in the NFL that can almost win a game by himself just because of how explosive he is. And I think he has the opportunity to kind of go nuts in this game. And it kind of minimizes, Jair Alexander and some of those guys on the Packers because he's just explosive in tight situations, coming out of the backfield, catching the ball out of the backfield. I think he's good enough to do that. And I think, it didn't look good last year, but I still think that the Saints defense has some dudes, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to slow down Green Bay a little bit.
Yeah, the Saints were at least top. I think I've been top 5 offense and defense in terms of points per drive last year. It was at least top 10 in each of those categories. So, one thing I'm interested in is, what's the strategy for Green Bay and stopping Kamara? What do you do? Do you play zone coverage and try and stop the run? I think they are a better man team. If you want to play man, who do you put on Kamara? I don't think they have a guy who matches up very well there. Maybe do you put Kevin King on Kamara? I just don't know what the strategy is there. I think that you're right. I could see Kamara stealing this one. And listen, it's not like Jameis Winston is incapable of winning you football games. The issue is he'll also lose you football games. But if no one wants to play the Saints because the Saints can beat anybody. The Saints can beat anybody. They're enough talented. They're talented enough they can win any game, which is why I think this may be a good pick for you to make me pick it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I am picking the Packers in this game, but yeah, I completely could see the Saints winning. Alvin Kamara has 59 touchdowns in 60 NFL games.
Yeah,
it's absurd.
How many of those were against Minnesota? In that one game, like 6 of them?
I know he had 6, but that's still absurd to almost have a touchdown a game pace for your career through 60 games. You basically have to bet on him to score at least once, maybe twice. I think he scored 3 times on them last year. He's capable of doing that again.
Do you just play man coverage and just, put a corner? I guess it probably would be, maybe Eric Stokes on Kamara and just sort of say like, okay, he's going to beat us at some point in the running game. He's going to beat us. We're just going to eat those yards, and we trust that we'll score points on offense to make it work.
So you're basically having 6 defensive backs on the field with 1 keying on the running back?
So when I think back to a couple years ago when the Saints were looking like world beaters, they were blowing everybody out, scoring 50 points a game. Then there's that Monday Night Football game against Dallas, and they only scored, I believe it was like 10 points. And a big thing they did was they put a defensive back on Alvin Kamara and weren't afraid to do that. I think it makes sense to, you don't have to have, you can't have 6. I think 6, that probably does make sense. I think, but take away what they're best at. What they're best at is having Alvin Kamara.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested to see if they move him around the field a little bit too. I mean, it'll be interesting. I do think I'm guessing they're going to start with zone, like you were saying, and kind of just say, "Hey, just tackle." Now, tackling Alvin Kamara is tough, but I mean,
Mhm.
I think that's what you kind of have to do to start. If things like start getting out of hand in the first half, I could see them deploying something like that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Just don't do what you did last time. That didn't work. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll go back and watch that film and see what they did wrong and see if they make adjustments.